The King's Pawn by Ruby Red Phoenix. The Blue Unicorn, formerly known the Great and Powerful Trixie, heads to a small shop in the southern section of Canterlot, dealing with rare antiquities. Upon entering, she immediately shuffles through the magical wares on display, until the shopkeeper, a white stallion with purple plaits, calls her attention. "You have good eyes. Is there anything in particular you're looking for?" Trixie immediately notices her prize beyond the counter, the Owlcorn Amulet. The shopkeeper dismisses her gaze, quick to point out the amulet is absolutely not for sale. "Are you sure about that?" Trixie replies, levitating a sizable pouch of bits onto the counter, so full that some spill onto the floor when dropped. The owner sold it right then and there. As Trixie began to navigate the streets, she examined the amulet. A simple design resembling an owlcorn with a red gem in the middle, an amulet containing arcane power. Trixie fashioned the amulet around her neck and continued her walk, her destination, Ponyville. Not long after beginning, Trixie felt a sharp pain in her head, a strong migraine that persisted for a time, before being replaced with an ominous voice.
"I can feel your hatred, your desire for revenge."
The voice called clear as day. Trixie knew the amulet would have some drawbacks for gaining such power, but she dismissed the danger. She had a mission to carry out. Trixie would defeat Twilight Sparkle once and for all. Ponyville was in sight. Her ambitions were high. Trixie picked up her speed, anxious to execute her plans. There was a small group of ponies hanging around a small flower shop to Trixie's left when she entered Ponyville. Trixie walked towards them and demanded the whereabouts of Twilight Sparkle. When the group noticed the ex-showman and started to laugh, she felt the pain again.
Such cruelty! Do they not deserve the same?
As if the words overtook her mind, Trixie's horn lit up. As well as the amulet, her eyes seemed to glow a bright red, and suddenly, as quickly as it started, one of the ponies' laughter ceased. The others looked over to the silence, to find a bouquet stuffed in the pony's throat. The victim choked up the flowers and gasped for air before being dragged away by her friends. Trixie didn't seem to mind. She was almost content with such a subconscious protection provided by the amulet just then. With her confidence boosted, she trotted towards the Ponyville Square. "Twilight!" The cry growing louder as two ponies carried their friend closer.
"Did someone call for me?"
Twilight smiled. "Twilight, be careful! You need to get out of here! It's not safe!" She laughed.
"Why? What's wrong with Ponyville on a day like today?"
"She's back, Trix!" was all that could be said before the panicked mare was levitated off her hooves and thrown into a nearby tree, now lying unconscious in the grass from the impact. "We wouldn't want to ruin the great and powerful Trixie's surprise, would we?" Trixie smiled in the unconscious mare's direction. Shocked, Twilight Sparkle stood frozen. Such a violent act committed with no signs of remorse.
"How could somebody be so cold?"
she thought. "What? Didn't expect to see Trixie again? It's not like Trixie to keep fans waiting, you know."
"What do you want, Trixie? And who do you think you are hurting my friends?"
The last word, friends, hung in the air, and that familiar voice rose into Trixie's mind once again.
Friends? What good are they? Just enemies you allow to grow close to you.
Trixie quizzically raised a hoof to her head. "Oh, they were your friends? That's right. Trixie has almost forgotten that friendship was what you were all about these days." At this, Twilight Sparkle seemed to get angry.
"But,"
Trixie grinned again, "you should be more worried about yourself, Sparkle. I intend to get my revenge for all the misery you have caused." Twilight was now furious.
"I caused you misery? Because of you, Ponyville is almost destroyed."
No. I never asked the boys to drag an ursa of any kind from its cave and bring to Ponyville. I was simply putting on an act, a show, a grand performance." Twilight glared. There was absolutely no way Trixie was not responsible for the endangerment of Ponyville. Trixie, however, started to laugh, enjoying the anger Twilight Sparkle so vividly displayed. She was about to throw another taunt her way, but that headache started once more, and she winced in pain, before suddenly collapsing.
Trixie, are you alright?
Ponyville was filled with confusion. No pony there would have predicted Trixie's return and her bullying of the townsfolk followed by a sudden collapse. She was barely conscious, still eyeing down Twilight Sparkle.
Do you enjoy seeing others suffer? It seems we share some attributes.
The voice in Trixie's mind was back. And what would the others be? Trixie thought, surprised at the abrupt comparison.
Of painful past, a desire for your own brand of justice. Let's say, retribution. A common obstacle we wish to have ourselves rid of.
I see, Trixie thought, understanding. But who are you exactly? After the last thought, Trixie's eyes in the amulet glowed brightly once again, with a strange voice, familiar in head, now speaking clearly through her.
I am the darkness of Sombra, the king of the Crystal Empire. I am what has been left behind to ensure his return.
The amulet was now glowing brighter than it ever had. There was no mistaking it's connected to Sombra. With those words bellowing throughout the town, Twilight was now aware of the spirit that has overtaken the showmare, who has been rude and obnoxious. It was clear Trixie was unintentionally committing these acts. Sombra had somewhat influenced her actions. As Trixie was getting back up, the sky suddenly darkened.
Sparkle, let's finish this,
Trixie said, with Sombra's voice echoing her own.
Finish what?
Well, in Trixie's case, finish you in your... Finish, exactly.
I'm not going to fight you. I wouldn't stoop to your level.
Another devious smile crept across Trixie's face, as if the challenge of forcing Twilight Sparkle pleased her. What would be the best way to completely destroy one who holds friendship higher than all else? The choice was obvious. Well, that just won't do. Perhaps you would rather watch Trixie humiliate your friends once again. It was so much fun the first time around. Trixie made a quick glance to her left, with a sleeping pony who she had earlier thrown into the tree lay in the grass. With a spark from her horn, numerous acorns came pouring from the tree, burying her. Trixie's not after these meaningless obstacles. So if you could agree to the duel, that would be wonderful.
Trixie, you have to snap out of it. You're not a monster, it's the amulet.
The eyes of Trixie displayed a slight twitch, but she was still very much connected to Sombra.
You even worry about your enemies more than yourself. You truly are a fool, Twilight Sparkle.
Sombra's voice now drowning out Trixie's even more.
I could see this is going to require some more persuasion.
With the end of that sentence, Trixie's horn lit up a dark black. A large hawk slowly approached a pony sitting at the table near the restaurant, behind where Twilight was standing, rendering her eyes useless in spotting the mystified object. This did not last long, only long enough to position the rock directly overhead, to which the pony let out a cry of fear. That cry seemed to echo inside Trixie's mind. This is going too far. I only came to defeat Sparkle. This reckless violence is not what Trixie wanted.
But Sparkle, you wanted her gone, did you not? You must crush her completely, and everything important to her.
Well, maybe Trixie did. What is it to you? Trixie can change her mind.
And that is why you are weak.
During Trixie's brief scrubble with the essence of Sombra, the large rock positioned over the table had moved from its position, as if the caster had been unsure of what their motivations were, giving the pony ample time to escape to safety. Trixie and Sombra were struggling for control, until finally Sombra was done playing games. He threw the rock far outside of Ponyville.
You lack ambition, such wasted power, and a conscience. I abandoned mine long ago. You have no further use as a vessel.
The amulet glow ceased, and it broke in half. The darkness of Sombra spilled into a ghastly form, materialized outside the amulet, a phantom. Trixie was fatigued, as if Sombra has been draining her power while occupying the amulet. All the while, Trixie was watching with concern, not knowing what she could do to help at this point. Her thoughts eventually came across the conclusion, a panic.
Trixie, get out of here, it's not safe.
Trixie tried her best to get out, but could only slowly get to her hooves.
You'll meet your end, Sparkle. The Crystal Empire will be mine, once again.
Sombra threatened, then launched a shot of magic at Twilight. Wasting no time, Twilight blocked the magic with her own, holding a magical connection with Sombra, each trying to break through the other's spell. His magic was too much for Twilight to fend off. She was growing weaker. Sombra's magic was going closer to her. The dark magic was turning her horn black. Trixie could see the two locked in battle. Knowing Twilight was in danger, she rushed over, her former desire for revenge replaced with the will to make things right. Oh, come on, Sparkle. It's like you're not even trying. She was still feeling drained, but Trixie added her magic to the fray and began to push Sombra's back.
Trixie?
Twilight said in disbelief.
Are you sure you should be pushing yourself like that?
Trixie's no pony's slave. Trixie and Twilight continued to push Sombra's back. Sombra laughed.
Try as all you like. You can't beat the likes of me.
His magic persisted.
Keep going, we can do this.
Twilight managed, mustering up all her strength she could. Trixie could do this all day. Trixie also conjured up whatever she had left. They both gave Sombra everything they had, and forced their way through his magic. Upon being struck by the forces of Twilight and Trixie, Sombra started to fade, clearly lacking significant power to fully return. As Sombra was fading, he let out a bellowing scream, which in time faded as he did. Panting, Twilight looked over to Trixie.
How are you feeling?
Like Trixie should apologize. This was never meant to actually be a battle to the death. Trixie just wanted to humiliate you. Twilight laughed.
Thanks, I guess. One thing's for certain, though. You sure do bring a lot of trouble for Ponyville.
That seems to be true. Trixie had no expression on her face. In that case, Trixie will be leaving now.
You're just going to leave? What happened to your revenge?
Trixie may have wanted it at one point, but she can change her mind.
What brought this on?
Twilight questioned. You were worried about Trixie, an enemy no pony ever had before. Trixie gave a smile and a spark of her horn as she vanished in a cloud of smoke. However, she could clearly be seen running off through the smoke to some unknown destination. You just listened to the reading of The King's Pawn by Red Ruby Phoenix, as read by D. Fatman. See you next time.